I just can't avoid asking this question since we're at this institution, the museum. Really, what can be done to deal with the demonization of Muslims and Islam in the American media, in the whole 9 yards, for the mainstream media to, of course, the internet. If you've been on the internet, you can see what type of vitriol, and it's vile, to be blunt with you. And what can be done to deal with that, where you've gotten concepts where, right now in the mind of most Americans who aren't Muslims, you hear Quran, you hear jihad, you hear Sharia. Those are all red flags. Those are bad things from the start. And it's all happened actually in fairly recent times. I grew up during the 60s and 70s, and I've never seen such vitriol being perpetuated really out in the open. You'd have to go to certain type of rallies, KKK rallies, to hear pejorative things stated out in public about African Americans. And yet, concerning Muslims, it seems to be open season, and so on. And I really appreciate the comments from Rabbi Schneer, where really these should be looked at as alarm bells. When somebody's saying, well, we need to get rid of Sharia as it relates to Muslims, I look at that as maybe that's a predecessor to, using the context of Jews, pogroms and the Holocaust. So again, my question is, what can be done to kind of try to mitigate this? Because it really is ludicrous sometimes when you see the reporting, even in mainstream media, where immediately if some person who may be a Muslim is accused of a crime, that's the first thing that's blasted in the headline.
Role of the media. A number of questions here also concern the role of the media, and the fact that, Melissa mentioned earlier that Muslim leaders speak out and so forth. Really? Most people that read my column, when I say that, say, I've never heard such a thing. I don't believe you. Where have they spoken out? Not in my town. So if that's true, what you're saying, is it the media's fault? What role has the media played in the kinds of stereotypes and the words they use? I see a lot of things in the media where there's effort to educate. Why isn't that getting through? What's happening in your different perspectives that is keeping? Is it really the media, or is it other factors that are making it difficult for the media to get a better message out? Yes.
Well, I find that American Muslims, for the first time, are fighting back. The controversy surrounding TLC, the All-American Muslim Program, the reaction. Let's put the faith community aside. Let's put the Jewish and Christian communities aside. But how Muslim Americans mobilize, because I wasn't introduced this way, but my very celebrated partner in my work is Russell Simmons. Russell and I actually head up the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding, and Russell has really been the forefront of combating Islamophobia and anti-Muslim discrimination. But I can tell you that the Muslim community, particularly young Muslims across the country, they were mobilized. They were galvanized. They said, you know what? Enough is enough. I think it first began, Dr. Saeed, with the Peter King hearings. We even had, for the first time, in Times Square back in March, first time Muslims actually hit the streets. It was a rally. Dr. Imam Shamsi Ali and Imam Rauf of the Cordoba Initiative had come to see Russell and myself, and they both said, what should we do about these Peter King hearings? And I said, you know what? It's time. We need to see American Muslims in the streets. In fact, I bet that we can get together a cadre of Christian and Jewish leaders to say today, I am a Muslim too. And that became the name of the rally. So we had the rally for the first time, Times Square. The petition against, not against the Lowe's Corporation for pulling the ad They were able to, a group of young people, got 100,000 names from the Muslim community. Look, we're not where we should be from a media point of view and turning things totally around. I believe the good news is that the process has begun. I would not have said that a year ago, surely not 2 years ago. But I do believe the process has begun. The Muslim community is becoming more vocal. The Muslim community is expressing itself. The Muslim community is beginning to understand how to deal with, how to communicate with the media. So I believe that the process has begun.
I think another part of it is for the Christian community to confront falsehoods within the Christian community that are being peddled about other faiths, Islam or other faiths, but particularly Islam today. We're not supposed to bear false witness. That's a spiritual obligation. And if there are some who are peddling falsehoods and bearing false witness about other faiths, we cannot let that slide. We have to view it as a spiritual obligation to confront falsehoods and to talk about that within the Christian community and not let some voices who would either out of ignorance or out of calculation spread things that are untrue about other faiths. So I think we are been slow on the mark about that, but I think that some of the alarm bells, including some of these anti-Sharia measures, some comments by high-profile political leaders, are beginning to make an impression on Christian leaders more and more to say that we have to address this within the church as well as outside the church.